Hi, this morning I watched Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, the latest in the occasionally resurrected comedy fantasy adventure movie series about ghost hunters fighting specters in New York. I mean, we're all familiar with it now. Um, the original two movies I enjoy a great deal. I thought the 2016 reboot was deeply flawed, not because of the apparently sacrilegious concept of having women in the main roles, but more because of the sloppy writing and undisciplined direction. And I thought Ghostbusters Afterlife, the notional true Ghostbusters 3, was a complete disaster that spent far too much time rehashing the original film and trying to appeal to nostalgia than actually doing anything remotely original or clever or interesting or funny. Crucially, it forgot that the Ghostbusters movies started out as comedies. So, with a very heavy heart, I went into watching Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. It's an improvement. It's gone up from 1 star to 2. There is some humour. There is a deliberate attempt, I think, at casting comedians in supporting roles, carrying on the family saga from the previous film with the family of the late Egon Spengler taking over as the Ghostbusters and supported by the original team. We also have the likes of Kumail Nanjiani, James Acaster, and Patton Oswalt in supporting roles. So there is a sense of, yes, we know this is a comedy, and giving it a bit more humour, although it's very much downplayed. But to the movie's credit, it is trying to do something different. It is trying to do something original, and it feels like it's standing on its own as another adventure for the Ghostbusters, rather than relying on rehashing past material. On that level, I have to give it credit, and that it actually does work. It does feel like it draws a lot on the real Ghostbusters animated series from the late 80s, early 90s. It was very popular at the time, where the team was facing a new, bizarre supernatural threat every week. And this time it's a being that casts a world of ice all over New York or something like that and can only be defeated by an ancient order of fire raisers, of which a slacker from the Bronx appears to be the only surviving descendant. Um, there's also a subplot with Phoebe, the notionally main character, or the build sixth or something ridiculous like that, having what appears to be a romance with another young ghost, and it's weirdly soft pedaled. I think that maybe they're supposed to be friends, maybe it's supposed to be a same sex attraction there, but it's never really clarified. It feels as though there's a reluctance to say anything that might be too controversial, such as teenagers being aware of their own sexuality. Um, so that felt off key and odd. Um, Paul Rudd is still top billed, even though he's in no way the lead. But the film also feels very overstuffed and quite poorly paced. The real villain only really makes its presence felt in the last 20 minutes of the film. A lot of that before that is just preamble and padding, and it feels too slow. And there are far too many characters. We have the main team, we have the support team, we have other characters elsewhere. We've got the return of Walter Peck, the environmental officer from the first film, who's now somehow mayor of New York. There's too much happening here. It needed to be stripped down and refocused and rethought. If you want to do a more serious Ghostbusters movie that still has some comedy, fine, make the comedy funny. Comedy here is very light. It's okay. It's fine, but it's not great. The film could have been a lot worse, given that it's from the same creative team as the last one. Gil Kenan and Jason Reitman, son of the original director Ivan, still write, and now Kenan has taken over from Reitman as director. It's fine. It's not terrible, and that should be seen as the extremely hollow victory that it's intended to be. It's an improvement on Afterlife insofar as Ghostbusters Afterlife was the worst film of the year. This is still a long way behind the other movies. There were bits of the 2016 film that I liked. It remembered it was a comedy. It had a lot of imagination and creativity. It just was never remotely disciplined. This needs some of that discipline. And it does look like as though it has the same problem as the 2016 movie did. There's no one in charge saying, you need to cut this down, you need to tighten this, you need to focus this. The result is a film that is sloppy and unfocused. But it is trying to do something different. It is trying to be creative and come up with something new and fresh and a different take to push the characters forward and be a bit more engaged and to balance the elements of the movie much better than Afterlife did. It's an improvement, as I said. Maybe if they do another film, they might get it right. Judging by the box office, they probably won't. And that, maybe, is even a shame.